All right, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to cover three things. We're going to talk about how to roll up cash secured puts, which are accelerating my profits. We're going to talk about where I'm at in progress to my overall goals of keeping this account either growing or not declining while we are making draws from it. And I'm going to show you a new premiums calendar that I built that's helping me manage future months premiums. And before we jump into that, just a little bit of commentary. Again, so far this journey's going great. Learning a lot. Big shout out to my mentor. At some point, we'll have him on to talk through all the stuff that him and I work on. We treat this like a job every single day. He does the same thing. He's got a much bigger account that he's managing, but it's also how he makes a living. So, I'm excited about it, learning a lot, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today. But just in general, the market's been doing very, very, very well, and it's going to have a pullback at some point. We're just gearing up for that. But in general, earnings are coming in okay. Some companies are doing really, really good on earnings like CLS, STX, WDC. And some companies are having okay earnings like Amazon and Meta. I mean, they're still having great earnings. They're beating their earnings per share. But just investors are seeing a couple things that they're not a big fan of. And then Powell only did a small interest rate cut. But the more important thing is he alluded to most likely not doing another interest rate cut in December, which the market had kind of factored in. So, there's a little bit of nervousness right now, and we're just going to see how it goes. But I'm very confident in all my positions and even confident rolling up some positions in some stocks that had really good earnings that look like they're going to continue to run. So let's first off jump into a premiums calculator that I built. I'm going to try and keep this quick because I'm actually I recorded some video of me this morning doing an actual cash secured put roll up, and I'm just going to play that here in a second. But before we jump into that, I built this calendar very specifically for me to kind of plan out the future months. And what you see right here is these numbers that represent the premium that was collected. So it might be a cash secured put, which would be a CSP, or it might be a covered call, which would be a CC. And the reason was this is important for me is because normally what you'll see, like as in November, these are all the ones that we have planned for November. But as you can see, we close some of these things early, pull the profits into the day we close it, and then create a new one. Those are the roll-ups I'm going to show you here in a second. And one of the things that are important for me, at least, is to have a weekly series of actions. So remember, every one of these cash secured puts represent an amount of capital that's allocated that I can't do anything with. So as you can see, each week, a sizable amount of capital will be freeing up for us to then take action on the next Monday. So as an example, on the 7th, if these things expire or they don't expire or I end up owning the shares, on the 10th, we'll start new cash secured puts, start rolling this stuff over, or start covered calls. So this calendar starts to populate as we do more action throughout the month. And that's what you see here in October. Each time there's a cash secured put that is not on a Friday, it means I closed it early to start something new. And then finally, I just keep some notes for myself. These are all potential upside. This is basically just rolling over cash secured puts. And then a whole bunch of covered calls that we have that will start getting populated here as these covered calls expire. And I either lose those shares to somebody else and gain the profit from that, which I would represent here, or if I just start a brand new premium. So this calendar has really been helpful for me because you can also see that on the 28th, I'm still building this. And in December, I haven't started building any yet. I'm going to start building that as these expire. So it's been super helpful. Now let's go ahead and take a look at where we're at with the numbers. All right, so taking a look at account performance, added just a little simple indicator to track week over week. And as you can see, we're doing pretty good from last week. The market is doing great, so this is going to be a big beneficiary here. And also, we'll just take a quick hop over to the website. All right, see now when we hop over there, you could actually, I'm making this video in the middle of the day. I think I had 241, close to 242, and now it's at 242. So this is going to move a little bit throughout the day, but I snapped the line. So the accounts are looking good. We have the severance account. And we have the emergency savings that used to be $30,000 and it's climbed up to about $2,000. And we got our long-term investments that we're just continuing to add from, and then the options account, which is sitting at about 147. So now hopping back over to our results, you can see when we drill down in a little bit how we're doing for October. So October, we tried to earn around $4,000 in income, and we're sitting at close to $7,000. So far exceeding goal there. And not going to dive into it substantially, but just in general, a couple things. This is the covered calls, and also that Amazon leap that we've been tracking. It did get stopped out, so it was climbing up in value. These aren't the exact numbers, but paid about $6,000 for the contract. It was worth about $6,800. So what we went ahead and did is put a trailing stop at 7%. So as the contract value continued to rise, if it dropped 7% from its high, then it would automatically sell that contract and I would take the gains. And that's what happened here. So it made it up to around $900 in value, but when the market opened, it actually stopped out at around $500 in return. I'm not going to complain about that. It took 30 days to make this. That ends up being an 8% return and in 30 days. So that's awesome. And so that leap is closed. And we're going to move on to another leap whenever it's time. But as you can see, we targeted around 3% for gains, and we are hitting around almost 5%. And now turning our attention to November, we've basically already hit goal. And the reason I think we're going to far exceed, potentially double this goal, is because this is not taking into consideration any of the covered call activity, where some of those could get assigned away to someone else, and I'll get a big profit from those. Could, $3,000-$4,000 if all of those materialize. But even if they don't, then I'll just roll those covered calls over again, and that'll continue to add to this because I count the covered call when I actually execute it. And as we've seen earlier, we've got a bunch expiring in November, so we'll be able to take advantage of that. Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead and play some video from me this morning, not on camera, but just recording my screen and audio of showing how I do an actual cash secured put roll up for additional profits. Okay, and now I'm going to show you what I'm talking about with a perfect roll-up scenario. So looking at Western Digital's chart, and I'll zoom in, you can see that they gapped up yesterday, and then today they're having another good day. And basically they had a really good earnings. So my previous cash secured put of $110 all the way out on November 7th is about 88% through its maturity. And if I show you what that looks like on the premium calendar that I built, so this is November. This is the Western Digital right here. So this is the premium that I got for that $110 cash secured put. And you can see that it's going to expire on the 7th of November, and pretty good chance that it's not going to get assigned. So if I close this, it cost me about $40 to close this right now. So if I go back to and look at it right here, you may not be able to see this, but it actually costs me $53 to close this. So if I do some quick math, 474 minus 53, that's 421 bucks, right? That's what I will get as 421 bucks, but I will pull that 421 bucks into basically in today. So my October number would get a little bit better, but my November number will go down by 474. And if we look at an options of about a 30 delta for November 28th, where you can see, it's about close to 30 days out, which is where we like to be. And I haven't really built up a bunch of premiums expiring here yet, so I've just got some room here. So if we go out to right under the 30 delta, it looks like that is the 128 strike price. So if we look at the chart and we do 128 strike price, that is basically around right here. Now, again, a little risky, but I think this stock can hold. And even if it doesn't, it hit an all-time high of 145. So if we go from the all-time high of 145 down to our 128 potential strike price, that would be around a 12% discount. And I'm okay owning this stock at about a 12% discount from the all-time highs. Considering they're coming off of a really good earnings, I think this stock's going to continue to trend up. So this is a perfect scenario where I'm going to close this one out, and I'll show you how to do that right now. So I just go back into Schwab. I'm going to actually hit close position. And just going to hit review. I'm going to just let it do a normal market order close. So there you go. I just closed that position. So now if I go to my transaction history, you can see that it closed, and I actually I had to pay $50.66 to close that. So if we go back to the original one, that's this one right here. So originally we collected $474. We have to back that out, $50.66. So that makes my return 3.85. 31 days to collect that. It's 3%, almost a 4% monthly return. I'm happy with that. We'll go ahead and close this one, mark it green, and then sort this later. But now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, and if you go back to Thinkorswim, you can see up here in this corner up here, now I've got some additional option buying power because we closed that one. So if I go back to the premiums calendar, I'm going to move that premium, which was 423. I'm going to move that to today. That's what we collected basically today, and move that profit out of November into October. So October's number will go up a little bit. I need to actually go back and change this date. So expiring was supposed to expire on November 7th, but it's actually closed early today, which is the 30th. So that pulls that into this month's profit. So you can see I spoke wrong. When we changed that date and pulled it in from the 7th, we actually bring it up to about a 5% monthly return, 61% annualized. So really good play there. So now we're going to go back and we want to buy that. We said what? Right under the 30 delta. We want to buy this 485. So we're going to go ahead and just pull up our options. We're going to put this. We're going to try and get to the mid of the mid, which is, let's see if we can get this for 570. We're going to go ahead and confirm, and it looks like that it just executed. So we can go back to Schwab and see exactly what price we got. So if we refresh our transactions, then now we can see that we got it for $569.34. So if we go back to our if we go back to our premiums calendar, remember in November we were expecting to collect 474, right? That is now gone. That is not on the 7th anymore. So I'm going to delete that. But we gave up 474 to collect 569. So now we're going to move this all the way down to here, and we're going to go $569, put WDC, and we're going to put this as a cash secured put. So my November number, remember it was 474, and we have our new number of 569. I just rolled this up for an additional $95 profit in November. So I boosted our October numbers because we pulled $423 left from November into October, which is going to make us exceed our goals even higher in October. And I also increased the amount of expected premium for the month of November. So this is what I'm talking about, rolling up cash secured puts, which my mentor kind of really showed me how to do last week and this week, in which I've been executing a lot of them on, which is why you see a lot of activity on these days, which I'll cover separately. Okay, so there you go. Now you saw a little bit of the sausage making of how to actually do some analyzing on whether it makes sense to close a cash secured put early and either get into some other stock or just roll that one up for a potentially better profit. And that's it for this week. Next week, we will do an update, just kind of close the month. We'll account for pulling in a little bit of additional capital that I'll talk about. And then we will accommodate for the draw that I'm going to make here probably on Friday or Monday out of the account. So that's it. Talk to you guys next week.